like Hemingway. Cry about it.
Oh, okay.
Can you see me? You can. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Claire, if you did not know that, and I talk about books or other things. Today, I've got a treat. I've got something exciting. I have recently figured out how to make my own tier ranker. I made one of all of the books that I read in high school. I think the total is 37. I don't want to say that I didn't like a lot of them, but I didn't like a lot of them, you know? It happens. We're just gonna go through them. We're gonna rank them. You're gonna watch me rank them. I'm gonna put my screen up to you. And we're gonna have some fun. Without further ado, I think we should get started. Feel free to subscribe if you like my content. I don't like my content, but I'm sure some of you do, so gotcha. Obvious question here. I'll take the bait. Why are you doing this? It was weighing on my mind a lot, kind of like the books that became my favorites that I was forced to read that I probably wouldn't have picked up otherwise, or the books where I'm just so frustrated that we had to read it. Complaining is fun when you've got company, isn't it? Let's dance. We've got our categories here. We've got the category of You're White, We Get It. When I named that tier, I really had in mind the waspy books that make you so tired to read it. And it's just kind of like, I'm a quaint little woman in the 1700s, hear my life story. You know, I'm tired of those. I don't like those, so that's the bottom tier. Next tier is Schmoop. Those were the books that, you know, I didn't really read it. When it was time for essays, Schmoop was my best friend. Okay, next one is Revisions Needed. Those are the books where my teacher would only send me my essay outline back with the words revisions needed, and I was like, I know. But those are just the books where I feel like I read it, but did I actually read it, you know? Next one is bookshelf material. So this is the books that I've actually kept on my bookshelf after I've read it. I didn't give them away, and I didn't throw them away because they were too annotated. So, yeah. And then God Complex. These are the books that made me think that I actually had a brain inside my head, but also Inferiority Complex that rules my world today. So we're gonna start with 9th grade. The first book we read was Of Mice and Men. Where's the little stinker? Here she is. I tried to find the cover down here that looked the most, or was the cover that we used for class, which kind of gave me war flashbacks when I was doing this, because I was like, ugh, I remember I remember when I had to hold that copy every other day for class. Of Mice and Men, that's what we were doing. You know, oh my god, wait, is that too loud? I didn't like the story, but like, there was nothing bad about it, but to get kind of the themes and stuff, I definitely had to schmoop it, so she'll go there. Pretty easy. Okay. Next we did Inherit the Wind. I went to a Catholic school, and that's why I feel like we read this, because oh my god, I don't understand why we spent so long on it. We spent like a month on it, about the Scopes trial. She's gonna go in the you're white, we get it category, because I'm not forcing that on anyone else. We did Romeo and Juliet, I'm pretty sure. Romeo's like a grown man, isn't he? Why Romeo and Juliet of all of his plays? I feel like the ones that we did in the future were so much more spicy than this one. She was lacking, I think. So I think revisions needed, because it wasn't schmoop level. Like, I fully understood what was going on, but I don't think I did that well on that essay. Okay, next one was Great Expectations. You know, I might state an unpopular opinion, but I really enjoyed Great Expectations. And coming from my 14-year-old brain when I read Great Expectations, I probably shouldn't have, like, enjoyed it as much as I did then, because everyone else hated it. But it was just so interesting to me. I don't know, like Miss Havisham, Estella, Magwitch. I wasn't really a Pip stan, if I'm being honest, but it was like interesting. So I'm gonna put that as bookshelf material. It's not on my bookshelf, but if I did still have it, she'd be up there, okay? Alrighty, next we did A Raisin in the Sun. Hello, I loved this. This is going in the God Complex category. Lorraine Hansberry, you snapped. She ate that one up. I don't know what it was about this. Maybe it was because it was the first time that I've read something thus far in my high school career that was about black people and written by a black person. And so I just felt so seen. This was the beginning of my high school God complex. Triggered. Next we did 12th Night. It was funny, okay? It was a comedy. I would probably put this also in revisions needed. I'll put that in revisions needed because I wouldn't put that on my bookshelf. Yeah. Next, I think this was the last one that we did, was A Lesson Before Dying. I don't think I actually read it, so I'm gonna put this in Schmoop because I should read it again, but I can't even go in revisions needed because I would just get an F on the essay. 10th grade, oh my god, cluster of chaos for my life. We started out by reading Catcher in the Rye. I remember that because it was a summer read, and I very much so related to Holden Caulfield, which I feel like could be considered problematic because I was 15. I'm gonna put that in God complex because again, I carried that class discussion, but should I relate to Holden Caulfield to the extent that I did? No. Next, I actually don't remember the order of sophomore year because I was just on a different planet. Lord of the Flies was definitely in first semester though. I think this was the version that we got. And I think this could go in revisions needed, but it could also go in God complex because discovering all the symbols, writing that essay, girl, I felt like a god. I didn't do well in that essay though. I distinctly remember that because I got too caught up. So I think that's gonna have to go in revisions needed for the literal sense of the statement. Next up is Frankenstein. I want to like this book, okay? I want to, and I think I need to reread it because again, I was just not in my own brain sophomore year. There was a lot going on, depression. So this is gonna go in Schmoop because I distinctly remember every single day before class, I would be speed reading Schmoop because we would have a reading comprehension quiz at the beginning of class, and I tanked every single one. So we did Oedipus. I think I'm gonna put this in Your White We Get It because I was just uncomfortable the whole time. My teacher was just odd, okay? And like she made it weird. She made it really weird. Next, over like the winter break of that year, we did The Odyssey. It was an abridged version, of course, because I don't think that you're gonna stick The Odyssey on a bunch of 15-year-olds. So we did an abridged version, but I really enjoyed it. I'm a Greek mythology kid anyways, so that was a good time. Song of Solomon, and I'm gonna put that in bookshelf material. I want to put it in God complex, but Toni Morrison, you make me feel stupid. I'm gonna put that in bookshelf material. I wish it was on my bookshelf, but my copy was so tattered because again, what are you gonna do when you're a sophomore going to Honors English 2 every other day? That book is gonna be in the depths of your backpack, okay? So it was gross. Next we did Macbeth. Here's that little stinker. I'm gonna put that in revisions needed because it wasn't Schmoop. I understood what was going on, it wasn't doing it for me.
I also hated my teacher.
Anyways, next we did Their Eyes Were Watching God. I would put that in revisions needed. Zora Neale Hurston, I adore you. I really like Their Eyes Were Watching God, but I'm not sure I would put it on my bookshelf, and it didn't make me feel like a god. But I love your work. Do not forget that, babe. That was the end of 10th grade. Lord of the Flies at the beginning of the year. I remember, oh my god, it was so weird. My teacher had a pig head on a stick, like a rubber pig head, with little confetti coming out of it to be blood when we read Lord of the Flies. And I was like, what? And she would like send it around and make us read, and it like, I don't know. We're doing 11th grade now. 11th grade was just more chaos in my opinion. This was when we did American literature. I'm not a fan. I know we started with the Scarlet Letter over the summer and I hated it. It goes in Your White We Get It because I don't know. It was dumb. It was dumb to me. I don't have anything else to say about it. It was dumb. That I know that we read was Great Gatsby. I think I'm gonna put that in bookshelf material because I really enjoy the story. My love for the story is definitely emphasized by not only the Leonardo DiCaprio version, but I think the 1970s version way more because I just think that Robert Redford was a great Gatsby. I made a pun. List. Let me look at the list here. Oh, we did Maggie, Girl of the Streets. Has anyone else ever read that? I haven't heard anything about that. That's going in Your White We Get It. I haven't heard anything about that from anyone who didn't go to my high school. So, could have passed on that one, to be honest. The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. Hated that book. That's going in Your White We Get It. I don't like Hemingway. cry about it. I don't like Hemingway. I don't like how he writes. I didn't like the story. I got a D- on the test. A bunch of white people complaining about their lives. It's the lost generation, whatever. Whatever. I don't care. I don't have anything else to say about that. Then we did As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. That's gonna go in Schmoop because it was interesting. It intrigued me. It was weird. It was Southern Gothic. I wish I had more positive things to say about it, but 11th grade was such a... Okay, so we did our own like individual project, and I chose to read Breakfast at Tiffany's, and that's bookshelf material because it is on my bookshelf right there. I love the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn, and so when I read the book, Truman Capote is just kind of like a favorite of mine, so I put that up there in bookshelf material because Holly Golightly is just such a dream. I love her. I adore her. Kind of wanted to be like her when I was younger. Didn't realize why that was problematic until I read the book and I was like, oh, you do not want to be like her. We read A Streetcar Named Desire. I think that would go in revisions needed because I enjoyed it. I liked the symbolism, but not enough to keep it on my bookshelf. Not enough to make me feel like I was a god. Slaughterhouse-Five. I'm gonna put that and God complex, honestly, because it's not that I like rocked the class with discussion. It opened me up to like feeling smart, that I could still follow the storyline even though it goes like back and forth and backwards and more backwards and then jump forward, and I could keep up with that, and that made me feel smart. I hear that there's a movie that came out like a long time ago that I've never seen, but I would love to see, because how do you film that? How do you make that into a movie? We are in 12th grade now. This was, I think, my favorite year. This was when I took AP Lit. It was stressful, but I wouldn't have wanted to take any other class at my school. And I think we've got a lot of God complexes coming up, if I do say so myself. So, number one, we read Brave New World over the summer going into my senior year, and holy crap, that gave me the biggest God complex I've ever had in my whole life. There's so many different avenues that you can go in analyzing Brave New World, and every single one I took did well for me. It is my favorite book of all time, I would say, so yeah, God complex, because I ran the yard in these discussions, alright? Oh shoot, I forgot something from junior year because I hated this book so much. Huckleberry Finn. That is going in Your White We Get It. I do not like this book. I don't care what anybody says. I hated it. I don't care. Argue with your mom. Next, I'm just going to go down the line because the rest of these are from senior year. I picked The Fire Next Time to read 4 outside essays. The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin for one of them. And that's going to give me God complex. Reading about him speaking or writing a letter to his nephew about being a black man in America has never lost its relevancy, and I just kind of felt upset with myself that I hadn't read it yet. It's only 120 pages. I recommend this to anybody. It's such a powerful account of his life, of his experiences being a black man, being a gay man, growing up in a community that only had religion just to have something to believe in. I thought it was so beautiful. I got an A on that essay. Hello, money. Did Jhumpa Lahiri. I did The Namesake. I put that as bookshelf material. She is on my bookshelf, actually. I just thought it was really nice. It's, again, I kept choosing people of color on purpose, and I never read from an Asian woman before, so I picked Jhumpa Lahiri because I know that she's really accomplished, and I just thought The Namesake was really powerful about your identity and your family, what power a name really has. Next I picked this one too, Dorian Gray. I'm going to give this as bookshelf material. Not really a God complex yet because I don't think I really smashed the essay like I could. It should go in revisions needed because I did revise that essay, but I enjoyed it more than the revision needed category, if you catch my drift. Something that I forgot to actually put on here, La Morte de Arthur. I butchered that pronunciation, I don't care. By Sir Thomas Malory, I read that for our British literature section. I would probably put that in revisions needed because it should go in Your White We Get It, but I actually ended up enjoying it even though I didn't understand it and it made me feel like I couldn't speak English, but I enjoyed it and I would probably read it again. If I had a copy that was literally falling apart because it was so old, and so that was kind of a bummer. The next book we read was Signs Preceding the End of the World. It's about this girl, I think, who's going through the underworld to get to her brother, but it's also a metaphor for border crossing from Mexico to America, and I thought that was such an interesting allegory we could talk about that for a very long time. So I think I'm going to put that in bookshelf material. It's not on my bookshelf because my copy is like grossly annotated, but I would get another copy and I would read it again. Othello. I really liked Othello. It was frustrating for sure. It's a very frustrating read, but I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the commentary and discussion that comes with it, like a black man as a protagonist in a Shakespearean tragedy. Ooh, we could talk about that for a while. That's God complex, baby. That's God complex. She had me thinking. Hamlet, I'm going to put that in revisions needed, because Hamlet was good. I actually enjoyed it. I think out of all of the Shakespeare that we read, Hamlet and Othello are my favorites. He did Antigone. That's going to go in Schmoop, because I know that we did it, but I can't remember anything about it. We did Damien. That's going in your white we get it, because I didn't like it. Damien was supposed to be kind of like our psych realism unit. Whenever I ask other people, oh, have you read Damien? They're like, what is that? And what? If this is supposed to be such a critically acclaimed book, why, when I ask people that are older than me, that have studied literature, that they don't know what it is? Beloved, next by Toni Morrison. Hello. That is going in bookshelf material. I wish I could put it in God Complex, but Toni Morrison bests you. Whenever you think you're smart, you remember that she is smarter. Such an incredible, amazing woman, and I adore her, and I need to read Beloved maybe 14 times before I can even begin to fathom what is going on in it. But it's not next, but we did Arcadia. I didn't like it. That's going in your white we get it. I barely paid attention. It was like the last 2 weeks before school was over, and we were online, of course, because of pandemic, and so I just didn't pay attention. I already passed the class. It was over. Death of a Salesman. That's going in revisions needed, because I enjoyed it. And last but not least, we have Orlando. I think she's gonna have to go in Schmoop, because I like Virginia Woolf, but Orlando is a very convoluted book, I would say, and there's a lot going on, and I read it while we were already in quarantine, and so I was to my own devices, and it was my teacher over Zoom asking me if I read it or not, and of course I can say yeah. She can't prove it. This is my final tier ranking. So in God Complex, we've got A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five, Brave New World, Aldous Huxley, James Baldwin, With the Fire Next Time, and Othello by William Shakespeare. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, The Odyssey, Homer, Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote, The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, Signs Preceding the End of the World by Yuri Herrera, and Beloved by Toni Morrison. In revisions needed, we've got Romeo and Juliet, William Shakespeare, Twelfth Night, William Shakespeare, Lord of the Flies by William Golding, Macbeth by William Shakespeare, Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams, and Hamlet by William Shakespeare, and Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. In Schmoop, we've got Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, A Lesson Before Dying by Ernest Gaines, I want to say. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, A Lesson Before Dying by William Faulkner, Antigone, so Sophocles, yeah. Orlando by Virginia Woolf. Then in your white we get it, it's Inherit the Wind by Robert E. Lee and Jerome Lawrence, Oedipus by Sophocles, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, Maggie, a Girl of the Streets by Stephen Crane, Ernest Hemingway with The Sun Also Rises, Huck Finn, Mark Twain, Damien by Herman, I think it's Hesse, and then Arcadia by Tom Stoppard. So that was the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed. This obviously is not an original idea. I will link some of the other videos surrounding this topic, and I hope, again, that you enjoyed this. Also, I'd love to see how other people ranked what they were forced to read in high school. Please subscribe, please like, please comment if you loved it or hated it. I do well with any other criticism. Yeah, that's the end of this. Okay, bye.